Welcome back to National Report. The state of Alabama is now allowed to enforce its ban on transgender altering surgeries, hormones, and puberty blockers for minors, this according to a state court. The decision had been on hold for more than 18 months, while families with children who identify as transgender had asked the court to reconsider the ban. The order will allow the ban to take effect while the full court decides whether it will revisit the issue.
So back in April of 2022, Alabama Governor Kay Ivey signing the Vulnerable Child Compassion and Protection Act into law, and under the bill, that law, doctors who treat people under the age of 19 with puberty blockers or hormones would face a felony punishable by up to 10 years in prison. So clearly or deterring rather doctors from doing that. And Alabama is among at least 22 states who have enacted laws restricting or banning gender altering medical procedures or for transgender minors, and many of them facing lawsuits or blocked enforcement. Steve Marshall is the Republican Alabama Attorney General, joining us live on this story here, specifically in Alabama. AG, good to see you. Thanks for coming on. Do you see this as a victory for your state? Can you talk to us about why you support this ban?
No, it's clearly a victory for Alabama, but also a victory for children across our country. And as you acknowledged, we've had multiple states that have weighed in to say that we're not going to experiment on America's kids. We're not going to allow them to become the victims of abuse. And when we see courts like the 11th Circuit did last week for us recognize Alabama and a state's interest in protecting its kids, that's a victory, and we're really pleased with the progress of those cases.
There we go. Clearly a priority for the Republican governor of your state, and also those parents who've come forward saying, we don't want to have these procedures allowed. And yet, as you can imagine, sir, there's criticism online. We've picked a few on X. We'll just show them to you here. Critics writing, because clearly the government knows best when it comes to complex medical treatments and the unique needs of individual patients. And hey, let's all just pretend that this ban is totally not discriminatory and transphobic, and that it doesn't violate the basic human rights of trans youth to access necessary medical care. Another user writing this, why 19? So you can serve in the military and forced into jury duty at 18, but you can't make your own bodily decisions. AG, if you just wanted to address more broadly some of the criticism you've seen online in regards to this bill.
Yeah, the left is perpetuating a myth. What we've seen is that this is a failed experiment in Europe that have pulled back from advocating this type of care, but in fact have seen the hazards to kids and the impact on kids as a result of doing so. We're talking about science. We've looked at the research and understand what we need to do to help kids that are suffering from gender dysphoria. And it's not off-label use of medication. It's clearly not radical surgeries on children, but instead there are appropriate care that can be done. That can take place in Alabama and the other states that have adopted these similar laws. But we don't need to be experimenting on kids. And despite what Admiral Levine and others may advocate, this is not about the best interest of kids. This is a radical gender ideology of this administration manifesting itself in the way that we take care of our America's children.
That is Alabama Attorney General Steve Marshall joining us. AG, thank you. Good to see you.